Hey Lakewood 8th graders, who doesn't love a good old triangle? Now that we are moving on from parallel lines and transversals, we're going to talk a little bit about triangles. A fun fact, triangles are the strongest shape, and so if you ever look at a bridge or a building or a big structure and you look really closely, you're going to see a ton of triangles. In these kinds of scenarios, we might need to find the missing angle of a triangle. And when we're doing that, we're going to use the triangle sum theorem. So the triangle sum theorem states that the sum of the three angles in any single triangle, any shape of a triangle, is equal to 180 degrees. And that's it. That's all that you need to know about triangles. So let's look at this triangle up here. We actually have two missing values, x and y, right? There are variables. That means that we're going to be looking for those values. And we have two clues that are going to help us find the value of x first. So we know that this angle in the triangle is 65 degrees and this angle is 70. So think about the triangle sum theorem, and all we have to do is write an equation, 65 plus 70 plus x equals 180 degrees, right? Because the sum, that means it's always going to be addition, and then we're going to have an equals 180 at the end. So what's our next step? Well, we're going to combine 65 and 70. You can do some quick math up here. 500. So that's going to be 135 plus x equals 180 degrees. And then we're going to solve for x. We want to get rid of all the variables on this side that the x is on. I'm going to subtract 35, right? Because I want to make 35 go away. I want to make it 0. You have to do the same thing on the opposite side. You have to keep that equation balanced. And so, take 1 away from 8, get 5, 7 minus 3 is 4, 1 minus 1 is 0. So we get x equals 45. And so you can go ahead and write that in here. And so those are the three angles of our triangle. And it was pretty easy to solve x. Now I want you to think about how could we solve y out here. So now we have this value, and what do we know about two angles that are along a straight line? What kind of angle are they? What kind of angle pair are they? They are x and y are supplementary. Oh, I spelled that wrong. And that means that x plus y equals 180 degrees, right? If they're along a straight line, the two angle measurements together are going to equal 180 degrees. So now we know what x is, 45 plus y, but we still don't know what y is. So now that's what we're trying to figure out. And just like our one-step equations, let's get rid of 45. Let's subtract it from both sides. We get 10 minus 5 is 5, 7 minus 4 is 3, and 1 minus 0 is 1. And so our y value, I'll write that over here, is 35. Right, that's nice and easy. Let's look at a couple more problems for practice. So hopefully you recall what this symbol means when we see it in a triangle. So when we have a square in the corner, this is telling us that this angle is a right angle. And a right angle is always 90 degrees. So when we looked at this at first, we only had 40 degrees and a variable and this weird symbol. But then we all remember that it means it's a right angle and it's going to equal 90 degrees. So think about what we should do now. Well, we know that all of the angle measurements together equal 180 degrees. So let's write an equation to help us understand this better, right? So that's mathematically how it's going to look. And let's go ahead and let's solve for x. 40 plus 90 is 130. We still have x on this side, 180. Subtract 130 from that side. We have to do the same thing on the other side. And we get 50. And x equals 50. Make sure that you add, when you're writing your final answer, it's degrees in degrees, right? Great. Number 3. So sometimes, we're looking for, let's read the problem. What is the angle measure for angle BCA? So sometimes you're going to see this symbol, and this is standing for an angle. And let's look at, they give us some information before we start solving the problem. Angle CBA equals 70 degrees. So what you want to do is maybe start your pen, your pencil, at C, and then follow in this exact order, C, B, A. And so then that means that this angle right here, the letter that's in the middle, is going to be that measurement. So we're going to put 70 degrees. We can write that in our triangle so we see it. So we've got one measurement there. And now angle DAB, angle DAB, equals 130. So remember, go in that exact order, D, A, B. So that this angle here on the outside is 130 degrees, right? Because we're following DAB, and it's projecting out. Not this inside angle, but it's this outside angle. So here we have 130 degrees. But we don't have these two angle measurements. And they want to know, what is the angle measure for BCA? So we're looking for, let me get another colored pencil, BCA. So this angle measure is what we are looking for. So what do we know about angle DAB and angle BAC? These two pairs. They are supplementary and they're going to equal 180 degrees. Let's call this one X and this mystery one Y. Let's find X first. So we're going to do 130 plus X equals 180. Subtract 130. And yeah, sometimes you can do these in your head. And we get 50 degrees equals X. So now we have this measurement, 50 degrees, and then we can go ahead and find angle BCA. So we've got 70 degrees as one angle, plus 50 plus y equals 180. Combine these two together, and we get, I always like doing the math just to be sure, so 120 plus y equals 180. Subtract 120 from both sides, you get 60 degrees, and y equals 60. Nice and easy, right? All right, so this is the key concept, the triangle sum theorem. And so far we've been given the degrees of typically two angles, and we have to find the third. There are going to be some problems where you're not going to know exactly any of the angle measurements, and you're going to have to, there's going to be a variable in each of the angle measurements, and there's going to be an expression. And these expressions we have to create into one big equation. So number 4 is asking us, find the angle measurements of the triangle above. So right now we don't know any of the angle measurements, but think about this. What do we know about all of these expressions if we were to add them together? Right, they're going to equal 180 degrees. The sum, right? The sum of them. So we have 3x plus 9 I'm going to add x minus 3, and then I'm going to add 2x equals 180 degrees. So now we need to combine our like terms. So we have our like terms here. Let's do some circling and some boxing. I'm going to box all of my terms that have an x, that have the variable, and just for fun, I'm going to circle all of my terms that don't have a variable. And remember, when you are combining like terms, so most of these are positive, right? If there's nothing in front of this 3x, it's positive. If there's a plus sign in front of this 9, it's positive. But check out this 3 here. There's a subtraction sign in front of it. And when you are combining like terms, that subtraction sign is attached to that 3. And so that's actually a negative 3. So just keep that in mind. Okay, 3x plus x plus 2x. And remember, there's an invisible 1 in front of that x. 3 plus 1 plus 2 equals 6x. And 9 minus 3 equals 6. Right, so those are combining our like terms. And our new equation is now going to be 6x plus 6 equals 180 degrees. Okay, now we want to get rid of all the terms around the x. Let's subtract 6, make it 0. Subtract 6 from this side, and we get 174. And we have, get to the bottom of that page, 6x equals 174. And now x times 6, right, this is multiplication. The opposite is division. So we're going to divide 6, and that's how we can get rid of it. And we're going to divide 6 over here. And x equals 29. Are we done? No, we're not. Good. Because it's asking for the angle measurements. And we just found out what x is. So I'm going to flip over my paper. So remember 3x plus 9, 2x, and x minus 3. Oh no. These are 3 expressions for the different angles. And now that we found x, I'm going to plug in 29 for x for each of the angles. So we have 3 times 29 plus 9. 3 times 29 is 87 plus 9, and we get 96 is our first angle. And remember, that's in degrees. Put the degree sign. Now we have 2 times 29, and that is 58 degrees. And then we have 29 minus 3, and that's 26 degrees. So those are our angle measurements. And let's check, because what do we know about the 3 measurements in a triangle, the 3 angles? They should equal 180 degrees. So we can check our work. And they do, in fact, equal 180 degrees. So go ahead and, if you feel comfortable with this, do the practice work for the triangle sum theorem. And if you're still feeling shaky on solving equations like this, I want you to go to the website and go down to the refreshers video and watch how to solve 2-step equations with Miss Hensley. And that's going to give you a refresher of how to solve for x, and I think you're going to feel a lot more comfortable. So good luck with the practice, y'all.